What COVID-19 has done today is shaken up the world, has woken up them. We were in a deep sleep, and now we have got up, and we need to realize that you just cannot use medicines for everything. Immune system is never built up on medicines. It's not even built up on those drugged supplements, like people talk about omega-3, omega-6, vitamin C. Those are medicinal supplements. That is when you're deficient of something in your blood, you're given those as supplements. But what I'm talking about is food proper to help build up your immune system. Because if you look at the whole scenario today, especially the European countries, which were very high in terms of technology and in medicine, they are the worst affected in terms of this virus, COVID-19 condition, that disease condition. It's called the corona virus. And this coronavirus has really become a biggest headache. It belongs to the SARS-2 family. Now, when you look at the history, and I want to take you back, we have witnessed many epidemics like these before. And some have been so dangerous. Let's talk about the Spanish flu, the green color that you see on the top. That's exactly on this side, if you see, that's exactly there. And that Spanish flu, just in a single year from 2019, it took almost 40 to 50 million lives. That is how dangerous it was. But yet we survived it all. And you look at the others. Let's talk about the red one, the HIV and AIDS. When it came initially, we were so scared, when it was first started to talk about, and people thought it would spread everywhere. Yes, it still exists, and we have started to live with it. So we need to understand this particular virus, the coronavirus, is also going to stay with us. It's not going to go anywhere. What we need to do is we need to adapt. We need to build our immune system. So how do we do that? And for that, you have to understand basically what is immune system. How can we build it up? How can we become more resistant to it? Not by vaccination alone. Vaccination is not a solution for everything. Every time you take a drug and you take a virus, you attenuate it, then you put it into your body and develop antibodies, and then you build up your immune system. How long can you do that? And for how many generations will you be keeping on doing this? You need to understand the only and the best way is to build an immune system so that we have an adaptive living. We could live in harmony with everything that is around. See, understand one thing, very, very important. We are a part of nature, and we have to be in harmony with nature. As soon as there is no harmony, there is harm. Okay? And you have to understand the virus is not here to feed on you or something. There is something that has gone wrong. That is why it is affecting us. And that is our weakened immune system. So if you understand the immune system, for me to simplify it, it's nothing but a healthy body and a healthy mind. That's it. So you need to understand it is both the physical body and the state of mind. They both together play a very important role in your immune system. You might be wondering, how is that so? It's very, very simple. A man who's in stress is more prone to diseases, okay, any kind of infection or something. Man who does not get his proper sleep, because of stress, insomnia, that triggers it up. So mind being affected can affect the body, and same is it true with the other side too. If the body is affected with a disease or condition or something, the mind is affected too. So you cannot separate them both. You have to take care of both of them. So if you have to understand that we as social beings, we have always lived together. We did not only spread the diseases, but in a way, if you were strong, immunity was good, we were actually a kind of vaccinating each other with those viruses and infections that were there. So if you look at the weaker ones definitely fell prey to this. It's common sense, You look at a storm. When a storm comes in, the tsunami or something, you see the houses that are destroyed. You might have seen those pictures, how these natural calamities like tsunami and these tornadoes, they destroy many houses and those things. You'll see those are the weak houses. The strong houses, they survive. I've never seen a palace fly off. I've never seen a big concreted strong building fly off. No, it's a weak houses made of thatched roofs, wood, everything which do not have a strong foundation, they fly off. And the same is the case with infective conditions. So we need to have a strong foundation within us. And if you look and trace back to the history of the way medicine has evolved, you look at it, you see even in the African region, the Chinese civilization, the the Red Indian civilization, and even in Indian civilization, we had these so-called shamans or practitioners who actually foraged all these herbs from nature, and they knew their potential, and they used to use that as a part of the healing system. So we belong to this category, So if tomorrow somebody asks what is DXN, DXN is just this simple thing. We belong to this category of healthcare practitioners who knew how to sync with nature and to tap into the nature's potential of healing. So Dr. Lim is probably one of them, and we are his followers. We DXN basically follows his concept. So we are basically nothing but a very, very old. So we have a very strong lineage, the reference of our primary product, Ganoderma lucidum, is traced back to almost 2000 plus years, and so you can imagine how long standing history we have of human consumption. So the safety, people still worry, is Ganoderma saved, how much to take? I always tell them, you cannot have anything tested on humans for almost 2000 years to prove its efficacy of safety. And that's what Ganoderma is. Ganoderma is very, very safe. So trying to understand, why do we fall sick? Okay, now let's understand this also. For people who don't know me, even though I am an Ayurveda physician, I've done my bachelor's in the art of natural medicine. I'm also a master's in psychotherapy and counseling. And that's where my role of the mind comes in. So that's where I merge the practice of the mind and body into healing. And I believe DXN is the only company in the world right now that actually believes and practices and teaches mind-body healing. And that's why if you see at the right time, doctor pulled up the ACE card of Shunya. And Shunya is now going to be one of the most important practices that help in healing chronic diseases. And we call it Shunya therapy. And very soon y'all are going to also learn. And if you have learned it, you should practice and teach it. So why? Why do we need this? This picture behind me is the answer to that. You look at this bird, that's how we are. Innocent, ignorant. We are so focused on our survival, like this bird. What do you think it is engaged in? It's probably engaged in looking at a piece of, you can say, a worm that's lying there. It's trying to find out if it can get something for its survival. But its unawareness, its ignorance can be so life-threatening that behind it, there is death that's already crawling in very close by. Now, this scene, if I have just captured here, and at this point, if I ask you, what is the one thing would you do in this situation? As a psychotherapist, we can use this as a good way to find out how does the person feel. So many people would say, I would like to, shoo the bird away and tell the bird to go away. That's the way I would save the bird's life. But then in that case, you're making the snake starve. So somewhere or the other, one of them has to fall prey. The one who is weak, the one who is ignorant is going to fall prey. That is the law of nature. So nature is ruthless at times, and it does not forgive those who commit mistakes of unawareness. And this is what I believe. So DXN is nothing but all these programs that we do, the trainings, awareness programs to wake you up so that you don't fall prey to the big snake that crawls around here and there around us. And now the biggest challenge is, if you look at it, is this virus that we are facing. But that is just one of them. I don't know. There could be many just knocking the door, waiting for their turn to come in. And we need to be prepared. Trust me, the best way is to build your immune system. Best way is to build your immunity to fight them back. And the best thing is You don't need to do anything. We have a system, the immune system, that can do that. And how do you build up? That is more important. And that's what I'm going to teach you today. So let us understand what is the immune system and where is the immune system most concentrated. We need to understand this. So if you look at our overall body, we have immunity around the body, from your skin cells to everything, your eyes and everything. There is these guarding cells, the system of guarding that helps us survive. That's called the immune system. So it is everywhere. If an insect crawls on my hand, I can sense it, and I might my body can just give me that awareness. So my nervous system also is a part of it. Collaboratively, everything together forms the immune system. You cannot separate that as only the red, the white blood cells, or the lymphatic system. No, you have to think this as a whole. Everything is interconnected, and immune system is the overall connected part. So how well are you connected with everything is how good is your immune system. So now, when you look at it, where are the cells, the maximum cells which can show immune response found? And if you look at it, science today believes there are certain areas where you can find dense lymphoid tissues, because lymphatic system is very closely associated with the immune system. And these lymphoid tissues are mostly seen in areas where there is more chances of infections. So which are these areas? For example, my commonest area was my throat, because I keep on talking, I expose it to everything outside. So I might breathe air from the out, while I eat food and everything. So definitely the first guardian lymphoid tissue is here, the tonsils, you see. And if you look at the picture here, that's the first area. So if you are running throat infections, quite often you'll see your tonsils swell up, your tonsils swell up. And what did modern science do? They found a simple answer: remove them. And then what happens is, you remove the tonsils, then your second line of defense, that's your lungs, because that's where the air can enter through, because now there is no protection. So first is here, then you go to the lungs. Now why lungs? Because again, air is going in, it can contain millions and millions of bacteria, viruses, fungi. And if your lungs immune system is not strong enough, there you have, it becomes very, very risky. So that's where your immune system starts to develop slowly and slowly. This is again loaded with a lot of lymphoid tissue. You can see the bronchi there are loaded with these lymphoid tissues. Now, you see, if you understand what I'm trying to say, is areas where you're going to be exposed to the outside world, where the outside world is trying to get into your inside world, are the areas where the immune system is very much concentrated, or the lymphoid tissues are very much concentrated. Now, if you go down, you'll see a spleen. A spleen is also very rich in lymphoid tissue, because it actually assimilates the blood. All the dead red blood cells, they get processed there. So definitely, if there is an infection or something, they need to be on guard. Then you can look at the intestine. Don't forget the intestine. That is another area. So what I mean to say is, the whole body, definitely we have these lymph nodes and lymphatic system, but there are primary places where the lymphoid tissue is maximum. And these areas, if we can manage these areas, if we can support our body in these areas, we can definitely build a strong immune system. So let us understand what and how the immune system speaks to us. What is the language of the immune system? And here is a good example of how the immune system speaks to us. Okay, now if you look at this picture, you see this on my this is my right hand side. So you see on the right hand corner there is this thing that is poking into the skin, and it's like a thorn going into the skin. Now when you look at, when something which is a foreign object enters into our skin, what happens? Suddenly the body responds. That particular part responds. How does it respond? It has its language. What is it going to do? It's going to show these 4 signs. What? Swelling, pain, redness, and warmth. For sure, this is when your immune system has started to respond. Now you look at all the conditions that we suffer from, any condition, this is exactly why we go to a doctor. We go to a doctor primarily because we suffer from pain. We go to doctor primarily if we have an infection, we are suffering from high temperature, we go to doctor. We go to doctors because we have swelling or some kind of fluid collection in certain parts of your body. We go because there is inflammation in your body. So you see, these are the language of the immune system. But what do? We just suppress it. We don't realize that it is a warning. It's the language of the body, and we need to respond to it in its own way. How do we do that? For this, you have to also understand every time, we falling sick, our immune system is trying to fight something, and then it collects data. And our genes, our genetic material basically is nothing but data centers that collect all the data and they store it into our system so that whenever needed, it can reflect back. That's what we also call memory cells and all those things. But in common sense, they are like data centers, and they don't do it only in our lifetime. We have been an evolved species. We have been evolved over years and years. So this data center has been holding on to data for a long time, millions of years of our evolution. And that's why it is very, very important. The kind of exposure that you give, that is how it's going to behave. And not only for our generation. When we build our immunity, we pass it on to our children too. So it's very, very important to build immunity, not to weaken immunity. A weakened immune system can be passed on to a child. And that child will have more difficult times in surviving the future, because the future is definitely going to be much more different than what it is today. And we need to understand this. So how does the immune system get all its response? The way it experiences the world. The way you feed yourself decides what your immune system is going to go through. The kind of high starch, high sugar diet that we have been taking is somewhere becoming a major cause for suppressing the immune system. So watch on your diet, don't take too much of acidic food. That definitely leaves you on a weakened immune response. Then the food additives, we are moving from, the natural food to most of the junk foods. And if that is going to be your primary diet, trust me, you're going to pay a big price over time. Then you move out the medicines that we take. I know people who have been taking and popping pills for almost 30 years. Can you imagine taking a drug for 30 years and thinking that it will not harm you? Sorry, it will. The best test of a drug that can harm you or it can cause problems to you is to test that drug. If you take a drug, okay, and you put it here below your lip, just keep it there. If the drug is harmless, it is not going to harm you. You will find nothing there. But there are drugs, if you keep, like you can take a painkiller or an antibiotic, you just keep it here. You will have a chemical burn. That's how toxic they are. But you imagine this is the response of your mucosa to a drug. And that's exactly what you're taking inside. So over a period of time, this is what you're going to face with inflammation and all those things. So you look at the natural products like DXN products. You take Ganoderma, you can open it up, pull it here, nothing happens. Absolutely safe. You open a spirulina, put it here, nothing happens. You take an apple, cut it up, put it here, nothing happens. These are accepted by the body. They are not triggering any kind of response there of body doesn't like it or body shows inflammatory response. In these cases, no. So the best way to identify acidic and non-acidic is by putting this simple test. So is drugs like these acidic? Yes, definitely they're acidic. Smoking, trust me, your lungs are the first line of defense when it comes up to your immune system, when you breathe in air. But when you smoke and you're a chronic smoker, over a period of time, you toughen the lungs, so hard that the whole lymphatic system there gets destroyed completely. Their sensitivity to infection gets completely lost. So such a person thinks that nothing is happening to him, but what technically happens to him, his tissues inside get so hardened, he could land up with a COPD, he could land up with acute respiratory diseases, so many conditions in future. And once that thing starts happening, it's very difficult for a chronic smoker to, just reverse his condition. But yeah, if you stop, this is the same place. If you give it good things, it can reverse itself drastically fast, So the choice is always ours, which way are we approaching? One is doctors prescribing stuff for us, or second, we prescribe something for ourselves. I think the second choice is much better, because if we have our health in our hands, we choose our own prescriptions, we choose our own formulations that we need for our health, that will be a better choice than anything else. So until now, all good. Samuel, all good? Everything fine? Okay, I continue. So now you need to also understand the immune system in terms what exactly it does. Now here on the screen you see two pictures, one of a police a group, and the other the army group. Now you see they both are silent, they don't do anything unless it is required. So what is the job of a police? Police's job is to watch over things, maintain peace and harmony within the system. So within your society, if there is some robbery, somebody being molested, that's where the police intervene. So they just are watchdogs. They keep a watchdog. They move around in the society and make sure there's discipline in the society. What does the army do? Army watches the borders, makes sure that if there is somebody who is not a part of this community, enters into this community, he will be killed, he will be finished. Their job is very specific. No foreign attack on this body. So exactly like these two, our immune system does the job. And this job is called homeostasis. That's the policing job. And phagocytosis. That's the army job. What is homeostasis? Is to bring about balance. For example, let us understand. Usually your body temperature is normal, and 98.6 is what your body temperature should be. But when it's really cold, we start to shiver. Why do we shiver? Because our body is now regulating things. It's trying to regulate things so that you build up your own, increase your temperature by this shivering. So in cold season, when the temperatures drop, your body starts shivering so that we increase our temperature. This is the way it does. You go the other way around. In the summer season, when the temperatures are high, your body sweats so that the temperature falls down. Now you look at it. If it's very cold and the temperature is down and you're shivering, that's one way you can still survive. But why would you want your body to shiver? So suddenly you wear some warm clothes, you sip into a hot coffee or a tea, and you help the immune system so that it maintains its homeostasis. The same is with cold weather. When you see the temperatures are hot and you're sweating or something, you help yourself by taking a cold shower, by sipping a cold drink, something or the other. So you help your immune system in homeostasis. So here is when you're understanding the language and you're helping your body. The same second thing is phagocytosis. What is that? When there is a bacteria, virus, or a fungi that enter into our system, we have these specialized cells. They're called as phagocytes. They actually, based on the antibodies that are being recognized, these cells are specialized to encounter these bacteria, viruses, and fungi and finish them off. They digest them off and they end their journey within us, so they don't let them multiply. Now this is body's immune response to an attack. Okay, but now imagine your phagocytosis are also cells. They also need to be healthy, and they rely on the nutrition that you take in. So very, very important. If you look at it now, we are turning back to the importance. If I have to maintain a good homeostasis and phagocytosis function of my immune system, I definitely need to provide my body cells with the right nutrition. And that's where DXN comes into picture. Because in DXN, our philosophy is very, very simple of healing. We should take in good nutrition, good superfoods as food, nutrition, and second, we should make sure that we have no toxins, and toxins are eliminated out of the body. Now, let me bring you to some of the most important organs that our products, especially DXN products, would work wonders on. And the most important organ for me in our body, more important than the brain and the heart and your stomach and your intestine or your spleen, your liver, is these pair of kidneys. They are the most important things. And that's why probably we have a couple of them. Because if one goes wrong, we still have a backup of another one. And that's how nature builds us. The most important thing is always doubled up, so that we can use that for our survival. And on these kidneys, on the top, the cap-like structure is a gland called the adrenal gland that secretes the corticosteroids, the steroids that are used as anti-inflammatory agents for any kind of inflammation in your body. So look at the organ. It's such an important organ. It detoxifies your body, it cleanses your blood by formation of urine, and its health is the most important thing. If that goes wrong, trust me, everything goes wrong. Look at a car. If the exhaust pipe is blocked, something happens to that, to the exhaust filter or something. Trust me, whatever brand your car is, whatever it is, after some time it's useless. The same is with this excretory system. This is a very, very important organ, and they are like the mirror image of your lungs. So how important are your lungs? Exactly important are your kidneys. Now, for you need to understand that which of the products of our DXN would really work wonders and help this particular pair of organs. And that, if you look at it, is our Ganoderma, RG&GL. They work wonders. And you can go on PubMed.org and you can find a lot of papers on the way Rishi, basically Ganoderma, helps in nephroprotective function of the kidneys. And I have seen it myself, when I had these kidney stones, I wanted to test whether really its diuretic function is really good. And when I had almost a 2.5 to 3 centimeter stone, a huge one, and I tested it. I actually popped in 50 RG capsules with 5 liters of water, and voila, I could drop down that stone. So I'm not trying to tell you that is the prescription that I'm prescribing for kidney stones. But what I mean to say, I know its function, I know its action. So even that what you're dealing is not with a kind of a placebo product that is only talking good about it. No, I'm talking about real effect. These are functional foods. They show function. So when you drink a DXN coffee that is infused with Ganoderma, you will see within a couple of hours or so, if not for an hour, you will go and pass urine. That means it actually acts as a diuretic. And every time you have diuresis, you have urine going out, you basically maintain your body temperature, you maintain your toxicity in your blood. Has been taken care of, the more pure it gets. And that is very, very important, because the flow of blood is very, very important, and it needs to be clean, and your kidneys play an important role. So this is my suggestion for your kidneys. Then we move on to the other 3 main organs, which is definitely your heart, your spleen, and your liver. And if you look at them, the most common thing in them is they are all related to your blood. Now, when it comes up to blood, as I said, if you're going to take acidic food, you're going to make acidic blood. But you need to make alkaline blood. Your blood is not acidic. Acidic blood is during inflammatory responses. Alkaline blood is where life thrives. Many people I ask, is the seawater acidic or alkaline? I want you all to Google and find out, and you'll be surprised to see that yes, seawater with such high content of salt is also alkaline, because only in an alkaline environment life thrives. Okay, otherwise in an acidic environment life ends. This is a simple formula. So your blood is actually, technically speaking, not acidic, it is alkaline with a pH of almost around 7.2 to 7.4. So we need to maintain it there. And how is with the right food. And what is the best food? And especially for these 3 organs, our spirulina. And tomorrow, DXN spirulina's great day is there, because tomorrow our founder, Dr. Lim Xiao Jin, is going to be conferred with the Goodwill Ambassador for IMSAM. Now, IMSAM is an IGO, and it is going to take up a project of feeding 1 million children, malnourished children. And you can imagine an organization endorsed by the United Nations, when they are selecting DXN as one of their primary, and DXN's founder as their representative, as a Goodwill Ambassador. That itself talks about the quality. So I don't want to speak much on it. You will know this is the world's most amazing alkaline food. It makes your blood alkaline, protects your 3 organs, and wherever your blood travels, it is going to take its alkalinity. It's rich in nutrients. It's got all the phytonutrients you need. It's got all the amino acids you need. It's got all the minerals you need. It's got all the vitamins you need. It's a complete food. Okay, so let's move to the next slide, wherein another most important organ of your immune system, your lungs. And your lungs, basically, they are continuously engaged in detoxifying your carbon dioxide that is formed during your metabolism in the body. It has to throw it out. It also, I call it as a second excretory organ in terms of not only throwing out carbon dioxide, but also throws out a lot of air, water vapor. When you speak, you're throwing out a lot of water vapor. When you're breathing out, you're carrying water vapor out. So it actually reflects exactly like the kidneys. It also throws out. So these organs are fluid organs. Two of our organs are kidneys and our lungs, and they need fluid. So make sure, very, very important, you need to be well hydrated. And when I say well hydrated, people think I drink a lot of water. Water is not only the solution. You need to drink hot water. You know, you need to, when you drink cold water, you're basically again playing with your body temperature. So drink hot beverages, and some beverages like coffee, tea, they have amazing diuretic properties. So they definitely are very, very good. In COVID times, I have prescribed a lot of people to go on black coffee or black tea. That's the best treatment you can do to take care of your lungs. So here we have, and in DXN, we have amazing products, especially our cordyceps mushroom is very, very good for your lungs. We have our coffee, we have a tea. Make sure you can add those as your beverages to build up your immune system. Then your nervous system, as I told you, your nervous system also plays a very important role in your immune system. And if you look at it, we have another set of products that are very, very good. Lion's mane mushroom. Wow, it's got the NGF, nerve growth factor. And scientists and researchers have proven its amazing effect in actually helping the damaged medullary sheath of the neurons to be healed faster. And you have virgin coconut oil, amazing product. Again, we have this in India. I'm not sure in Nigeria, but yes, I'm just trying to give you an insight into what the company is and what the company philosophy is, so that you, when you associate with DXN, you'll realize that you're associating with a complete thought process, not just a product line. We are not a company that makes product lines. We make a thought process. We bring a philosophy, and that philosophy gives birth to new products. So when you look at DXN, look at DXN, you'll find everything interconnected. Then let's not forget the intestine, which I think has been the most abused organ of our system because of the kind of lifestyle we have been eating and just hogging into stuff and just stuffing these largest organ of your body. My goodness, we are suffering from a major condition like colon cancer. People suffer from piles, fissures, fistula, irritable bowel syndrome. They suffer from gastritis. There's a list of conditions that people suffer from gastrointestinal problems. But can you imagine? This is the place where your immune system builds up. It is loaded with lymphoid cells. It is the place where your immune system is actually building up. And I believe if you can maintain your gut health, you can maintain everything else. That's why the gut microbiome, that's a new thing that people are talking now. But if the way I studied in my Indian Ayurveda, where we studied, we talked about it 2,500 years before, that your gut health is the key to your immune system. Yes, and so you need to build that up too. And here we have an amazing product, the Morinda citrifolium noni. It's loaded with all that you need to build up your immune system through your gut. It's amazing anti-inflammatory properties. It's amazing, anti-pyretic properties. It's amazing healing properties. Like it can act as a painkiller. It is rich in this prozeronine that is again going to build up the zeronine. That is a precursor for your cells to regenerate itself. So whatever you think this noni, it's called as Morinda citrifolia, and we call it Morinzi. It's an amazing drink. If it's in Nigeria or if it's in African countries, that's a drink you should drink every day. One of our crown ambassadors from Europe, Laszlo Kopcho, you probably had a meeting with him very recently. He actually takes in a bottle every day. So this is a beverage of choice, not medicine where you drink in 10 ml and 20 ml, 30 ml. You drink it as much as you can. And they say that the Polynesian in the civilization, when somebody fell sick, had fever or something, the people used to come together, families used to come closely together, take the noni fruit, crush it, make it juice, and the one who was sick used to have it, and also the family, other members used to share the other part of the juice with them. So one who was taking for his sickness, while others were taking for their wellness. We need to do the same. We need to give our whole family this. So how do we know if we have a good immunity? How do we know? We need to know, because at the end, most of the companies and all, they talk about placebo effect. They talk about immune system as something that is, you cannot prove it, right? You cannot go and test and say my immune system is on a 1 to 10 scale, 7, 8, 6, 5. No, but there is a way you can find out how good is your immune system, and that is used. We are using these 6 parameters. First, you have to be your self judge. Okay, energy. How is your energy on a scale of 1 to 10? Mark it down. Are you energetic, completely energetic? Are you on a scale of 1 to 10 at 10? If so, fantastic. You are having a very good immune system. But if your energy levels are dropping, it's going down, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, worry, because that's the sign where your immune system is giving up. Make sure you watch these parameters. So take a pen, paper, make a note of this. Energy first. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your score? Then look at your appetite. Your appetite is one of the most important things that tells you how your immune system is. Okay, because if your immune system is compromised, the first thing it stops is any kind of hunger feeling. So you definitely have a compromise. Now, when I say appetite, I don't mean to say you're too much hungry and you're keeping a hog in everything. That is also not right. It should be balanced. At the right time, you should feel right hungry. You have to have that hunger cravings and that feeling of eating food, digesting food, and feeling energetic all together. Now, again, interconnect all of these. Don't separate them out. That is why I said all these on a 1 to 10 scale, put them very nicely, and then you'll know your own scale. Stamina. How much can you do certain physical activity? How long can you do that? Do you have the stamina to withstand that kind of physical activity? That is a test. Again, on 1 to 10 scale, rate yourself on that. Then you go down and find your endurance. How much things can you endure? Your work pressure, endurance at work pressure, your life, your stresses. How much can you endure? If you cannot endure and you give up and you are dependent on drugs, you're dependent on alcohol, you depend on smoking, you depend on something, that means your endurance level is very low. And so you need to be very, very sure. Find out your endurance levels on 1 to 10 scale. How much is it? And that will give you a score on your immunity. Then you go down and you understand your libido, the vitality of life. Suddenly, the excitement, the energy, the endurance, all these come together to give you that feeling of life. And you're this jolly, good fellow, mixing with people, enjoying, for young people, it's the chance of flirting, enjoying life. That feeling, I'm not saying technically doing that, but yes, but feeling of life within you, suddenly that excitement is also a very, very important factor. On a 1 to 10 scale, please rate yourself with that too. Then comes the most important thing. And this is the time when your body really, really heals you up. And that's your sleep. So your sleeping patterns. Are you suffering from insomnia? Are you sleeping too much, too less? Find out for yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. What is your score? Because this score also can help you understand your real situation. What we have today in our hands through DXN is this amazing mushroom, Ganoderma lucidum, that Dr. Lim is offering us. But if you look at the history, and you see these emperors behind me, they are holding this mushroom in their hands. So definitely they knew there are certain things where an emperor, you will see most of the emperors holding a sword to fight, because that's when you fight enemies that you can see, the enemies that you can use your sword on. But what about enemies you cannot see? You have to rely on something that is natural. And that's probably what they meant. On one side, humans are an enemy to your life. But on the other side, there are viruses, fungi, and bacteria which are not in harmony with you. They can also be your enemy for life. And that's where you have to depend on these natural herbs. And the best thing is endorsing. And then they are endorsing the Rishi, Lingzi in their hand. It's a very good indication that we should also adopt the same way. I was lucky when I started to spend my time in training and understanding DXN, I realized that this is going to be a fun journey, a joyride. And around 8 years back, I visited the farm and I was wonderstruck. The way Dr. Lim has built this naturally growing mushroom field. These farms, amazing, a sight to watch. And I'm sure if one thing you want to really watch on this earth before you leave this earth, this is the place you need to watch. It is a really wonderful place, because to watch so many lingzi, so many rishis growing all together in one habitat is amazing. It's a sight to witness. It's like, it said, this lingzi, the rishi, used to, if it grew on one tree, on one log, the other one you'd find almost after around 5 to 10,000 trees, somewhere. It was so rare. And it's such a great thing. Dr. Lim brought them together, and they're cultivating this and having a complete controlled environment in which he's doing this. So yes, definitely worth seeing. Then all these products, if you look at it, they are very, very important in terms of building up your immune system, because they take care of your organs. And once you take care of your organ system, you're definitely building up your immune system. So while we have taken care of the body, what about the mind? That's where Shunya plays a role. Dr. Lim's technique of this meditation, very simple. It's a non-religious, non-political, nothing to do with any faith. And it is a simple therapeutic method of letting your mind to be under a condition where it is not affected, not stressed out. And it helps your immune system. Trust me, people who can practice Shunya, people who are able to do that, will find wonders with this amazing technique. So that leaves me, because Shunya is the full stop. I come up at this point to tell that, yes, we are very lucky that we have DXN with us, and it's one of the greatest opportunities that we have, not only for our financial well-being, because it also helps us build our financial immunity. Because you see, today the crisis is that even our financial part is affected, and we need to build out that immune system also. And while we build our financial immunity, we build our health immunity, we are also contributing in a greater cause of building this whole socio-economic immunity, where we can find that we will be able to achieve peace and prosperity for all through DXN. So if you're a DXNer, congratulations. Make sure you do a good job as a DXNer. If you're not, if you're just a new prospect, you're looking and wondering what DXN is all about, trust me, the best thing to know is to join it, experience it yourself, and you'll realize you're with one of the most amazing companies that believes that your company also matters. Okay, so that's all from me, from my side, and I'm open for questions. Samuel.